I got Donnie here again. This is a lean out phase. This is a really important one, you guys. This is one you need to pay attention to. All three phases are important, probably equally important, but you don't get one right, it's going to show in the end. So, uh, being that you have, roughly 8 to 15 weeks to prep, uh, really probably this is the most important one. If you ain't lean enough, there's nothing that's going to help you in the end. So, this is the part we need to nail right here. Very first thing you need to nail, and you're gonna lean out all the way till the end. Seriously. So I got some questions here with Donnie, and we want to kind of explain how we do it anyway. Everybody's a little different, but this is how we do it. So I'm gonna basically let him go with this. I'm gonna ask him some questions, and we'll go from there. So basically, my first question is obviously we got our diet. Our diet changed. Our calories went down, carbs went down a little bit, depending on your body type and what you need and your output of calories and stuff like that. So now we got to do cardio, and cardio is a big one. So how do we do cardio?
So, and cardio is a big one. I mean, I'd say for about 99% of competitors out there are going to need some cardio to some degree. Okay. Yeah. I know Willie Stalling, who looked just absolutely phenomenal. His detail was just crazy at the Worlds. He was in the 50 division, and his cardio only got up to 40 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, he only did about 40 minutes of cardio and stuff.
I didn't know that.
With me, I'm anywhere from at least an hour plus. So it just varies from person to person. But here we go. So cardio. I mean, the lean out phase is just that. I mean, you're trying to get off as much body fat as humanly possible and stuff, in order to get to the condition that you need to get to be competitive on stage, and so it's going to require cardio. And the purpose of the cardio is just simply to burn body fat. That's pretty much it. It's not cardiovascular fitness and bodybuilding. When you're in prep and you're doing cardio, you're doing it to burn fat. That's the primary purpose for it. So a good part of the lean out phase, is an important part of the lean out phase is actually doing that cardio, and like I said, I know there's some people, they like to do a lot of outdoor stuff. I like to stay pretty much on machines, because it's stable, you can control it. You know what I mean? Some people, they like to go on runs and stuff, like jogs and stuff like that, or they'll walk outside and stuff. They end up meandering and everything. But what I do is we set that machine, and it's steady all the time. And so I just like machines. I prefer my athletes to get on machines rather than just go outside and do this, that, or the other and stuff. But
it's consistent too.
And you have to have the consistency. You have to. One of the things one of the big things that I see with a lot of people is they start out with too much cardio. Because your body's going to adapt. As it is. It is going to adapt to the cardio and stuff. And if you start at an hour, and then in 3 weeks, it's not that effective. Where do you go from there? And you have to start pulling from that point. So we tend to start lower. The first week, like 7 days a week at 20 minutes, and each week, depending on how everything's going, we just bump it up. About every 10 minutes or so. In 10-minute increments and stuff. And that's that way you got that wiggle room. Now, unfortunately for me, I didn't have to go to an hour. I mean, I didn't have to go to 2 hours like I have on a few occasions, because I'd already did one show, but I was prepared to go as long as it was going to take. And I know there are a lot of competitors out there that actually hate cardio. And I got to tell those competitors, you better learn to love cardio, because you're going to have it in order to get to the conditioning that you need to get to. I mean, single digits, 8, 9, 8, 7, even 6%, it's not enough. I mean, in order to get down, and the thing about it is this, I can stay consistent with my training and eat pretty good. And I could hover right around about 9, 8, somewhere around in there, But in order to get down to that getting those 5s and that sub 5, you have got to have that cardio, and it's got to be consistent, and it's got to be regular. Now, you got hit cardio and you've got sustained cardio. I like to do a combination of both. Okay. Like take for instance, if I'm at an hour's worth of cardio, 15 minutes of it's going to be hit and the other 45 minutes is probably sustained.
Mhm.
Do it at certain degrees. And that's typically how I like to do it. Most of the people that I work with and stuff, I have them doing like an interval type cardio program. And so you got to have those highs where that heart rate is up and stuff, but you want to have it down a little bit too, because it's the oxygen. I mean, that's you got to have oxygen along with that oxidation in order to burn the fat.
Yeah. Okay.
And so if you don't want to go anaerobic, anaerobic is without oxygen. You burn primarily carbs, you know, and since we want to there's a short period of time when my heart rate is up, but then for the most part it's middle, or it's not like completely low, but it's fairly low with those periods of that high end cardio and stuff. So,
Mhm.
but in the end, from I say from a scale from 0 to 10, at the end of that cardio session, it was probably about an 8.
Yeah. Sure. Oh, yeah.
Okay, even
Yeah.
even with the high end of it's about an 8. When I'm done, it's like, okay, whew, all right, oh, okay, all right. Yeah. I am pretty much done,
Yeah.
with that cardio and stuff.
Yeah.
But just some of the things I just want to highlight is if you can do it in layers, then like I said, I start out low, and then each week as you need to pull or increase your cardio, you increase it then. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on in this segment and stuff, but you don't want to go all out right out the gate and stuff on your first week and stuff. That's not a good thing. You're not giving yourself anything to play with when you start plateauing, and you will plateau.
And you will play because the body adapts, like you said, no
Yeah,
matter what you
the
do.
body's going to adapt.
Yeah.
It is going to adapt, and then as you start getting, it's going to start adapting very, very, very quickly and stuff. But
Mhm.
it's not going to get done without cardio
Yeah.
for the most part. And like I said, to various degrees, some people need a lot more than others. And for those who needed a lot more, don't listen to people that just only had to use 25, 30, 35 minutes of cardio.
Yeah.
That works for them.
Them. Yeah.
You need to do more. Well, if it worked for them, then no, not necessarily. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you need to really know your body type and how much cardio it's going to require for you to get lean enough to be competitive.
And how do you monitor that?
Huh?
How do you monitor that? So the guy, oh, he did it for 25 minutes in the end. I mean, I don't remember. I think I even up to an hour last prep. I don't think I was. Maybe 40 minutes.
Yeah, because yeah, I think we got you at about 40 minutes.
Yeah, but the
You're
time before it was an
you're
hour.
yeah, you're like Willie Stallings. You get you
Yeah.
guys can 40 minutes is perfect, was perfect for you.
So and obviously, so how do you monitor how much more cardio is? It's the end of the week. Okay, you're at 30 minutes, and how do you monitor whether I need more?
Just by how you're dropping. Just
Okay.
by how you're dropping. Because the thing about it is this, yeah, I like to weigh in. I don't like to with special people I work with. I like to know that weight every morning.
Yep.
Okay, every morning, and that just let us know what we need to do and stuff. Now the thing about it is this: if that weight doesn't move, if that scale does not move for about 2 to 3 days, then it's
Bumping it up.
time to do something. We're either going to pull a little food, or we're going to bump that cardio. Well, and in some cases, we may have to end up doing both. But that's what it's that daily morning weigh-in that's going to determine where we're going, and we're doing that the entire process.
Mhm.
If it's not moving, then we bump that cardio up.
So I'm
So
glad you talked about that because that was one of the other questions I have is uh 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 well, first of all, one of them, what kind of body percent are you looking for when you're on stage? I mean, where do you need to be around?
well, so the thing about it is everybody's 5% looks different. You know what I mean?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
It's and sometimes when you come out with a number, it's it's more like with like with you. Take for instance, we know where we know where the deep end of the pond is for you, okay?
Mhm.
You know, and we know when when the deep end shallows out, you're ready.
Yeah.
What percentage it is, I really don't care.
Don't matter. Yeah.
We know that this is the last place where it goes.
And that's just by look. That's by look.
Your shoulders and your chest, they're all straight and everything and stuff. You know, that's the shiny stuff.
Yeah.
But we know what we need to do. You know where you need to be looking.
You know where the fat's at.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that kind of determines, and to some people that could be like maybe 5.6%. Some people it's like 5%. Some people it's like 4.8%. And so but it's not going to be 7 or 8%, not even
Never.
6%.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty low.
Yeah.
And of course how you're feeling is going to be a huge indicator, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in this segment too and stuff, and we'll talk about that depletion, the whole 9 yards, how you're feeling.
Yeah,
stuff.
I want to touch a little bit on depletion on this one, but yeah, that's a huge one. And
right. So, but that and so with me, what that percentage is for me, I'll do some self checks and stuff like that. But typically, it's you are in the low fives and or below, and show what I'm talking about. It's like track. It's like somebody runs like a 10-7 and somebody runs a 10-3. You know what I mean? It's tenths of a percent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a difference between 5.8% body fat and 5.2% body fat.
Yeah.
You can feel the difference too.
Yeah, you can too.
It doesn't. You're not going from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3. No, it's going to be like from 6.8 to like 6.3, and then maybe 6%, and then like 5.7, then 5.5 or something like that. And those and as you get leaner, those tenths of a percent, you really feel them.
Yes, you do.
Like if you're at 4.8%, you're trying to get a little bit leaner, and you're like, okay, I'm going to see if I can get to 4.5. You go from 4.6 to 4.54, you're going to feel that.
Yeah.
And so it's just like a tracker who's already topped out at about a 10.5, but now you're saying, okay, now you got to run a 10.3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in order for this person to get to the 10, just imagine the work that he has to do or she has to do to get to that next, those drop the other 0.2%, or 0.2 of a second in track. Well, body fat loss is the same way, there's a difference between, and you can see the difference in the look. Somebody that's maybe 4.8% body fat and somebody that's like 4.3% body fat.
Yeah.
You probably can see the difference. It's subtle, but judges can probably see it.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much the audience, but judges can definitely see it.
Yeah. I wouldn't say the audience really would, unless they're bodybuilders out there. But yeah, I mean, I know for me going through prep, you see differences every day. Every day it's different.
Yes, every day. And with you and I need to bring this up, and I know you got another question that's coming in about this, and I'm just going to touch on it just a little bit and stuff, because especially with you is we want to know when that metabolism really starts kicking in and starts running away with you and stuff. You know what I mean? And so that is why I like to get I like daily weigh-ins, because I'm sitting back and you're nailing the first 3, 4, 5 weeks. There's going to come a point in time where that puppy is going to really start cranking, and you're going to be going, and that's when we start bumping calories and stuff like that, or doing wasting away and stuff,
that's a huge one right there, because technically you want about a drop about a pound, depending on the person. A pound to a half a pound a week is a pretty healthy drop, right?
Right. And what I say is tenth of a pound per day. Like for instance, let's say if I was 215.6 the previous day, I'm like 215.3 the next day, and then the following day I'm probably like 215.1. You know what I mean? And then 214.8. Stuff. It's just tenths of a pound per day. And that's generally, especially in my case and stuff, that and for most people that I work with, that seems to be a good a
It
good
is.
input.
Yeah. Oh, and so talking about the drops and stuff, because that's kind of the next question I want to get into is the food. Obviously I mean, I know with me, last thing you want to do is pull food for me. You'll up cardio, and the last thing you're
Right.
doing is pulling food. Now, is that the same for everybody, or is that just my body? I mean, I've worked with you long enough, you know how I work, but
yeah, it's mostly with people with faster metabolisms and stuff. I mean, me, I can lowball. I mean, me, I was still
yeah,
well
you
over
get down
200
there.
pounds, and my calorie count was in the basement. I was
Yeah.
lowballing, and
Yes.
lowballing to me is anything under 2,000. And I lowball quite a bit. And I
Yeah.
went pretty deep on that one, but yeah, pulling it just like I said, it's all about that daily weigh-in,
Yeah.
and actually knowing what that body type is. It's like guy I'm working with now, he he's coming down pretty good, tenth of a pound. Initially, though, he was just coming down a lot,
Mhm.
and I'm not gonna I can't go a little bit more into detail because there were some other things that were involved and stuff, but 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 he's taper off now and stuff, and actually we were both kind of worried and stuff, but now he's looking pretty good. So I don't know whether that was just water, you know because we were doing some stuff, that maybe was making him hold water and stuff, and that's what it was.
Okay. Was he is
So
he is he on prep right now?
yeah, he's in prep right now. Yeah, yeah,
Doing the
yeah.
Northwest or something?
Yes, that's
Okay.
all I wanted to disclose.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
doing
So I get, but the reason why I ask is, I mean, because he's just starting, so it seems like you got to kind of be on prep for at least 4 weeks to figure out, what your body's doing, and then
hmm
it kind of does the same thing every day. But then, like my case, I mean, I'd have times where I'd drop, tenth of a pound or whatever a day, and everything's going fine, and bam, I drop 5 pounds,
Yeah, yeah,
and then that's when you add more rice to.
right, and that's what I'm waiting for and stuff, and that's why weekly check-ins. It's okay, but a lot can happen in a week if
In one day,
that
can it?
metabolism,
Yeah,
if it starts taking off. I
yeah.
mean, and the thing about it though is when you're losing fat weight versus muscle weight, because fat 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 volume is 3 times that of muscle. Okay,
Mhm.
so if you lose a pound of fat, you're gonna see it. You know what I mean?
Yes, big time.
You will
Yeah.
see it. It's like, whoa, man, how much weight did you lose, man? I mean, you look like you lost like 4 or 5 pounds. No, man, I just dropped a pound. So but
Huh.
muscle, there's not a lot of volume to muscle, so you can drop 2 to 3 pounds of muscle and not really know it unless you get on
Oh,
the
geez.
scale. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So the thing about is when you're dropping those tenths of a pound, or if I get a big and here's the exception. If there's a big drop, but there's also a big change in your look, then I'm not so much going to make any adjustments and stuff, because chances
Sure.
are I know what fat loss, I know what a fat drop looks like, okay, and I know what a lean drop looks like. If you
Mhm.
drop that and there's not a big change in your look, then chances are we probably drop some lean, and there needs to be an adjustment that needs to be made or something.
Yeah, I know, because I got down to 207, and you're always telling me, don't worry about the weight, don't, you're always putting in my head not to worry about like I'm losing muscle or whatever, just look about the look. And then I woke up 207 that day, and I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, this is it right here. I'm right where I need to be. I didn't pay attention at 207 pounds because I look
Right.
230,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was my weight. That was where I need to be at that point. And whereas normally 207 pounds, I'd be like, oh, I'm sucked up, I'm skinny, I've lost muscle,
I
or
know
you know what I mean?
we get that dysmorphia going on and stuff,
Yeah,
and that's where coaches actually come in and stuff, because it can really mind screw you and stuff,
yeah, because your mind is, and that kind of goes into the next part of depletion, and well, I mean, just your prep brain, when you're in it for that long, you're depleted of all the nutrients you need. You have nothing. You have no gas in the tank. You're training
And
harder and longer and faster. And
and that's the price. Yeah, see, the lean out phase, a successful lean out phase comes at a price.
yes,
And that price is at the end of it. If you are successful at the end of it, you're going to be depleted. Okay, you're going to be lean. Like I said, you are definitely lean, but you're not looking like you're going to be looking on stage. That's
yeah,
you're just not, because
because it's not
like I
done
said,
yet.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
we're not done yet, and so
yeah,
that's the thing. So in peak week, all it is just the other two phases. That's all it is.
mhm,
It's the dry out and the fill out phase. That's all it is.
yeah,
So if you get some athletes, they're approaching that peak week, that final week, and they're not realizing that, look, the stuff that you've done and the way you're looking right now, you're lean and everything and stuff. This is not what you're going to be looking like on stage. We're not done yet.
yeah,
And some people, I think they figure, okay, well, we got a week. This is my look right here, you know, you know, and in actuality, it's not. Like I said, because if they've done what they were supposed to do, you're if the dry out and the fill out phase were just as good as the lean out phase, they're going to be looking phenomenal.
yeah,
They're not going to be looking anything like they're looking at that point in time.
yeah.
And that's one thing that there's a lot of things they have to understand, that at that final week going into peak week and stuff, if you nailed your lean out phase, yes, you will lean the whole 9 yards. And then there are a few people, you know, at the end of the day, they are looking pretty close to how they're going to be looking.
Mhm.
And because some people, they don't really need to go through a lot of that drying out process and stuff, and
Yeah,
some people, it's just part of their genetics. Some of them are just really naturally dry. They're already looking pretty dry, and they're looking fairly full. And then with me, I mean, I'm on like 1,500 calories and stuff like
yeah.
that, and and and
That would
and,
kill
and
me.
I strip down after workout, especially after chest workout. And people are like, well, how you looking? I says, well, I'm feeling flat. And they're like, you're not looking flat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And, and so yeah,
yeah.
so it a lot of it, the stages apply to everybody.
Mhm,
Lean out, fill out, dry out. Those are the three stages.
mhm.
What's done in those individual stages, just depends on the person.
Yeah, yeah,
But like I said, I just want to reiterate one more time that at the end of the lean out phase, when it is done, when it's time to fill out, you are not going to be looking. Most of us are not looking like we're going to be looking on stage,
yeah.
and that's one thing they need. And so don't panic.
Yes,
You know,
yes, yes.
don't panic. You're gonna be fine. It's like Linda; she's getting ready to go to the North Americas and stuff, and she is really lean, and we can see that once she dries out and she fills out, she is going to be looking really, really, really good.
Yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, this is just the end of that first phase. That's all it is. That
Because
lean
for
out.
most people at the end of the lean out, you're flat. You got no glycogen in your muscles.
Right,
Yes, you're lean. You can see the muscle. And to the average person, you look great. I mean, they think you
right,
look awesome, but you know better than
absolutely.
that because you look at yourself all the time and you know what the difference is between being full and flat
Right.
is. And you're
And
flat
so
and your head's foggy and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, man, it's just not there. It's just not there. And that's the tricks that you play. And that's where you come in for me. It's just like
yeah,
you're good, you're right where you need to be, just hold tight, hold strong, and you're not there yet. You still got this amount of time and you got to fill out and you got to dry out. And that changes everything on as far as the look.
and that feeling, that sensation you get of feeling small is a big one. That's the one that really mind screw a lot of folks and stuff. They feel like they're getting small. You know what I mean? They're leaning out and things are going great, but they feel like they're getting small. They don't look, and so they tend to either cut back on the cardio, or they get discouraged and they just
Oh,
start eating and stuff like that. And And I think this is another point where you need a coach that's got some to know you need to keep going.
Yeah.
This is don't worry, this is part of the process, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. This is
Because a lot of
normal.
people think that you diet down and each week you get better and better and better and better and better, and all of a sudden you're just looking really shredded the whole 9 yards. And to a certain degree, yeah, but it's you know once you get to a certain point, like I said, you're not you're really lean, but you're not looking the way you're going to be looking on stage.
I mean, it's like
Yeah,
with me, like right now, I'm sitting at 240 pretty consistently right now. I look great. I mean, I got all the shreds, everything's great. I'm full all the time. But in my mind, I look better now than I do on stage, minus the abs and the legs and stuff like that, and even arms, because there's the shreds come in later with the lean out. But
right.
it's like when you get really lean like that, you definitely see it in the abs. The abs don't disappear. They stick out like a sore thumb. uh, 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 but it's like the shoulders, they just kind of sag, the chest kind of
Right,
sags, your lats kind
right,
of sag.
right.
You know what I
Because
mean?
yeah,
And
because you've taken care of those non-shiny parts,
yeah,
and
yeah,
in order to get those non-shiny parts in, sometimes the shiny part is going to suffer. But the thing about it is this: we don't fret because we
yeah,
know there's a phase that's coming up to where
yeah.
we're going to take care of all of that.
That's
And
right.
I
That's
think
right.
that's the thing that I really need to a lot of these athletes to understand that at the end of that lean out phase, you like I said, there's a phase that's coming up that's going to take care of the flatness, that's going to take care of all the other stuff.
Hmm.
You did what you were supposed to do, and because all you should be thinking about in that lean out phase is just that, leaning to
Yeah,
freak out.
leaning out. Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Leaning to freak out. Yeah, and there's going to be times where you may look and feel a little small, a little lackluster, a little flat. Yes, you are, but
Mhm.
that's just part of the process. That's the price you're going to pay to get as lean as you need to get to be competitive.
Okay, so lean out. We got our diet. We got our diet in check. Uh, we got our cardio in check. Now training. What changes? I mean, obviously this is different for everybody, but I'm trying to let them know how we do it. What do we
Yeah,
do in training?
for me, nothing.
Exactly. Nothing. It
Nothing.
doesn't change.
Nothing doesn't change.
It just gets
And
harder because you don't have the energy.
it gets very hard because it gets hard to the point to where like I'm like 2 hours from Tuesday's training and I'm still wondering how the heck I got through Monday's training. I mean, it's
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of lethargic going into it and stuff. But once that first working load, once that first working set hits me, it punches me in the face,
Yeah.
then I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm wide awake then. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, let's get this thing.
That's just it. It's walking into it like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. Yeah, it just kind of the light switch goes off. That's how it is with me too. So uh getting hungry. I know you got a big problem with hunger. Because you go so low in calories. How do you deal with that during this phase?
Well, so well, I gradually work into it. I mean, my calories, I mean, starting out are fairly high, and then and then once my cardio is tapped out, and then I will start pulling. And the thing about it, I don't really need to. To I don't really need to. It doesn't really start getting hard for me till about maybe 4 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
Three. That's when I'm really, really, really dealing with the hunger and stuff at that point. I mean, and there's two hungers that you have to deal with. Okay, the first one is you have stretch receptors in your stomach, and in the off season you're used to eating pretty good, and these stretch receptors, they're used to so much food being in your stomach,
Mm-hmm.
and now that you're on prep, you're probably not eating that much food, and so the stretch receptors, they send signals to the brain saying, hey, look, we need more food, we need more
Yeah.
food. Well, believe it or not, after about a couple of weeks, the stretch receptors, they adjust. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then that kind of goes away and stuff. And so I really don't have a problem, going off the plan and stuff like that. I'm pretty consistent and stuff. And then but the second one is the one this is the one that's really hard for everybody. Okay. And that's when, you know, your stretch receptors are already adjusted and stuff. But as the weeks go on, that body fat gets to a level to where the body is like, this is no good. This is not good. Okay. You know, we can die. We're talking about
survival.
You know, we're talking, it's a survival mechanism. So because survival mechanism kick in with the stretch receptors, because you still got plenty of body fat. We're sitting on about 12% body fat, so we're good. Don't worry about it. But now that body fat is like dipping, like maybe in the low 6s, maybe the high 5s. And that's when you wake up with that one and you're like, oh man, okay, I'm feeling it now. And so what knowing me, I'm endomorphic, and one of the things I do to try to is I use like ice sheathing stuff, Another one of the first things I do is I start freezing my protein shakes.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard that one.
Off season, I got plenty of calories. I just need to I just got to get the calories on. So I just check it down and stuff. Well, I don't want to chug down anything. I want to eat something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to chew and swallow. I need to eat. And so what I do is I use vanilla with my I use chocolate during the off season, but I use vanilla during the contest prep, because when it freezes, the consistency is very close to ice cream.
Okay.
And so I'm freezing these puppies, and I'm sitting back, and I'm eating. I need a spoon. I need to put something in my mouth, and I need to get my jaws going and stuff. Now we're talking about, I'm about 4 weeks out. And my body fat is pretty low. I'm at that point to where it's like, okay, no, this is serious, because we can die. That's how the body is saying it. We can starve to death. And so now you got to deal with your brain, and you're craving stuff that you haven't craved in years.
You're like a pregnant woman.
I was a little kid, fried bologna sandwiches. I'm like, well, why the heck am I thinking about fried bologna? The brain is like, hey, let's bring back something. Let's see if we can get this kid, see if we can get this guy going. He's trying to kill us, And so, and then, like I said, I'll take ice and I'll crush it up, crush up ice and stuff, put a little bit of that little meal in there and stuff, and then a couple of pumps of sugar-free syrup. I can only do this for so long, and then I just make it like a slushy out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting and I'm just eating that, That's
and when you told me about that the first time, thinking, how's that going to work? But I started trying it, and it, it's a brain thing, because you're chewing, like you said.
It is.
And drinking something's not the same as eating something.
No, it's not.
That. I mean,
it's not.
But now you're chewing it, and it takes you a few minutes to eat it. So you're actually eating, and your brain tells you, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm eating something.
Because right now I go nowhere near a frozen protein shake. And
so that you can have it. Okay. Right. Yeah.
And so the thing about it is this: stuff like that. If I'm like at 8-9% or something, I'm not going to do anything like that. And that's how I know when I'm getting pretty low, when I start craving that kind of stuff, when I have to find myself having to do that kind of stuff to keep from thinking about food all the freaking time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, that's one of the things I do. Another thing I do is sometimes I will, it depends. I didn't do it the last couple of preps, but I did it about the three preps prior. And I use nicotine patches, and the thing about it doesn't make the hunger completely go away, but it makes it a little bit more manageable. It makes it a little bit more tolerable. At that point, I'll take whatever I can get, Yeah. And so I use like 7 milligram patches and stuff. And although I'll never be a smoker, I mean, I can understand why they smoke now. I mean, I remember there was one time I was between clients and I was just really down, and I just couldn't get it going. And I just put on like a 7 milligram patch in about 5 minutes. I mean, the clarity just came in. It wasn't really like miraculous, but it was, the clarity really came in and stuff, and it kind of curbed my appetite just a little bit, just enough that I can tolerate it. You're not gonna, there's nothing out there that's gonna make it
Yeah.
Like
This is hard
100%.
work. It's all
Yeah.
hard work, and it's not going to get easy.
It just makes it a little bit a little more tolerable. You know what I mean? You know, a little
Yeah.
more tolerable. That's it.
Well, Donnie, I think we're kind of running out of time on this episode, and
All right.
I kind of see lean out into another episode, honestly,
Yeah,
because
yeah. We
I
can keep
think we
talking. Yeah.
haven't even touched into half of the questions I have for
Oh
you on
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
And then we'll go into dry out, and then we'll go into thaw. Those will be a little quicker, obviously. But yeah, there's a lot more to talk about on the lean out. So yeah, I'm gonna pick your brain about that. I mean, I have my own questions too. Well, you know, I always ask you stuff all the time. So anyway, thanks for the interview again, and yeah, we're gonna we'll do it next week.
All right, man.
You know, every Monday we're gonna have a video out for you guys. So that's kind of how we're doing this. Anyway, have a good night, you guys.
You
Later,
too, man.
Donnie.